While President Trump has wasted no time launching attacks on Kamala Harris, looking to her role in the confirmation hearings of now Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh.
And now you have a sort of a mad woman, I call her, because she was so angry and such hatred with Justice Kavanaugh. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. She was the angriest of the group, and they were all angry. They were all radical left angry people.
Well, you didn't stop there. Trump encouraging a racist conspiracy theory over Harris's eligibility to be vice president. Harris, for the record, was born in California and does meet all necessary requirements to become the vice president of the United States. But Harris has come out with her own jabs against the president. Wednesday, during her first press conference since being named Biden's running mate, Harris slammed Trump's track record in the Oval Office.
The case against Donald Trump and Mike Pence is open and shut. Just look where they've gotten us.
Well, joining us now, Elena Beverly, former National Deputy Director for African American Outreach with the Obama 08 campaign. Lanhee Chen, Hoover Institution Research Fellow and former Senior Aide to the Department of Health and Human Services. Elena, you listen to the words being used, angry woman, and then the intimations that she's not even eligible to become the vice president of the United States. We're hearing very similar racist tropes coming out of a position that we don't expect to hear it from.
That's right, Richard. Well, I would suggest that we do expect to hear it from Donald Trump. We expect that he is going to try to attack Senator Kamala Harris with both sexist and racist tropes, that he has a long history of his own misogyny, and he hasn't been able to land a blow on Joe Biden. And so he's going to try now to attack Kamala Harris. But look, usually people say that the vice presidential pick does not affect the presidential ticket. Well, there's nothing typical about 2020, and there's nothing typical about Senator Kamala Harris. She is electrifying the ticket. She is bringing not only the historic nature of her selection, but also a sense of unity that the nation is so hungry for right now. She has reflects Joe Biden's values, which are values in the types of leadership that are consistent, that are compassionate, and that are really reflecting the needs of people in this moment. She prosecuted the case against Donald Trump so well in her rollout speech, explaining all the ways that he's failed this country in handling of the COVID crisis. She and herself has introduced bills to address the economic impacts and harms of the COVID crisis and trying to keep people in their homes to prevent evictions. So I think that you're seeing that people across the country, nationwide, are really enthusiastic about this ticket, not just across the country, but specifically in those battleground states that you mentioned, states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan.
And we'll get to that shortly. Lanhee, reflect on what Elena is saying here, because if you're thinking that this is a calculated move as one option, or this is a desperate move because the president is not sure how to handle Kamala Harris, let's for a moment think that it is calculated. What does he get out of going after somebody like this?
Well, I think the goal, Richard, is to put Kamala Harris and to put the Democratic ticket into this box of being owned and operated by the far left. And I think you have seen this attack coming from Donald Trump and from Republican surrogates for some time. The notion being that now Biden is giving in to the sharper left-wing instincts of the Democratic Party by picking someone whose record arguably is more progressive than his. Now, I think the question will be to what extent that will land. It is obvious, though, that is the tack that Republicans have settled on in thinking about how to attack this ticket. That and the fact that this election really is about Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris. In other words, they are trying to frame Joe Biden essentially as a shell into which this sort of far progressive left is going to live. Again, the question is whether that will be effective or not.
Okay, put on your campaign hats now. You both were part of presidential campaigns on the opposite sides, but you're friends today, right? At least at 4:35 Eastern. Elena, for you, what do you think the choice of Kamala Harris gets Biden? Is he looking at the Sun Belt here, as was said earlier, because of the black vote, as well as the Latino vote? Or is he really looking at the moderate Midwestern firewall?
He's leaving no voter on the table. I think what's interesting and exciting about this ticket is that, yes, Kamala Harris helps to crystallize some important demographics for the Democratic Party. Yes, women. Yes, African-American voters. Yes, as you mentioned in the previous segment, the AAPI vote. But I'm also thinking about my friends down in South Florida, and you don't win Florida unless you win South Florida. So I'm thinking about the Jamaican American, the Haitian American, the Caribbean diaspora. She galvanizes all of that. Plus, she also speaks to all the pains that individuals are facing right now when it comes to COVID. And that is a nationwide challenge. So that's battleground states up north as well as those folks down south. So I think that she captures the imagination of the shifting demographic of the Democratic Party. Yes, more progressive. Yes, more people of color, but also focusing in on legislating and also governing for the folks all across the country in the swing states like Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania.
Lanhee, what does the choice tell you in terms of that Sun Belt versus Midwestern firewall?
Well, I think it's going to be a divide and conquer strategy, Richard. I think what you're going to see is the vice president continuing at the top of the ticket to speak to swing voters, particularly in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, the former Rust Belt. And then it's going to allow Kamala Harris to focus on some of these developing states, Arizona, Florida being the two biggest ones, potentially Georgia and Texas on the map. And it's going to allow them essentially to say, on the one hand, we're appealing to moderate voters who may have voted for Donald Trump even in 2016, but may be disaffected. And at the same time, having a message that is going to energize and mobilize progressive base voters, because while I'm pretty sure most Democrats are going to vote for Joe Biden anyway, what Kamala Harris's selection allows for is a direct mobilization of that part of the electorate Joe Biden absolutely needs if he's going to win, and that is to mobilize that base turnout, which he's going to get with Kamala Harris.
Elena Beverly, Lanhee Chen, thank you so much for your expertise. A little peek into potentially why the Biden campaign is moving this way. Have a good Saturday.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.